The GOAT of every position. The discussion about the greatest basketball player of all time can sometimes get a little bit heated. In fact, most times it does. Thus, you would think it gets easier when discussing who the GOAT of each position is. But the discussion is just as rough, with multiple players having a claim for the GOAT title in their respective positions. In this video, we'll put an end to all these debates and determine the true GOATs per position. Also, we'll add a runner-up to also determine who the second place in each position is. But before we get right into it, don't forget to leave a like on this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on them post notifications. The point guard, Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson is one of the most decorated players in NBA history. In what was rather a short 14-season career, he is a 5-time champion, a 3-time Finals MVP, and 3-time League MVP. Johnson was named an All-Star in 12 out of 14 seasons. In the first year, he wasn't selected. 1981, Magic was limited to only 37 games due to torn cartilage in his left knee. The other season in which he missed the All-Star team was his short-lived comeback attempt after being retired for 4 seasons. Johnson returned to the Lakers in 1996 for a 32-game stint, in which he was mostly a reserve. These 2 seasons aside, Magic was an All-Star virtually his entire career, including his rookie season. What made Johnson so special was the incredible length and strength advantage he held over every other point guard in the league. Standing at 6'9", nobody had ever seen a player that size handle the basketball and make plays for his teammates like he did. The Magic nickname was no coincidence. He was smooth as silk on the court and towered over every backcourt in the 80s. He also proved himself as a true leader of a championship team, first serving as a running mate for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1980 when the Lakers won a championship in Johnson's rookie season, but also as the best player on the team in 1987 and 88 when Kareem was already in the latter stages of his career. No other point guard has been as successful in such a short period of time as Magic was. The runner-up for point guard position is Stephen Curry. Curry is a 3-time champion, a 2-time league MVP, including the only unanimous MVP in NBA history, and the best shooter to ever step foot on a basketball court. He's led the league in scoring and steals, and his stats could look even more impressive if he weren't one of the most unselfish and professional team players ever. Curry revolutionized the game of basketball, and if he manages to win one more title or another MVP, he'll insert himself into the discussion for GOAT point guard. Shooting guard, Michael Jordan. Well, this one sure doesn't surprise anybody, right? Widely regarded as the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan is also the best shooting guard in league history. His list of accolades is long and impressive. His airness is a 6-time champion, with those 6 titles being divided in 2 separate three-peats from 1991 to 1993 and 1996 to 1998. He is also a 5-time league MVP, 14-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive, and a 10-time scoring champion, the most in NBA history. He won 7 of his 10 scoring titles consecutively from 1987 to 1993. The man had no stopping and was an absolute machine. It was a little bit strange watching Jordan, who's at the peak of his basketball career winning championship after championship, retire in 1993. We all suffer from burnout every now and then, but whatever he was facing at the time looked worse than a burnout. Regardless, it was great to see him come back just 1.5 years later. But imagine how fun it would have been watching the Bulls win 8 championships in a row had MJ not retired. That probably would have made him the undisputed GOAT, with a little room of discussion for other greats like Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, or LeBron James. The shooting guard runner-up is the late, great Kobe Bryant. The Black Mamba is a 5-time NBA champion, a league MVP, 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, and a 2-time scoring champion. And even looking past his on-court accolades, Kobe left his eternal mark and made an immeasurable impact in the game of basketball. MJ and Kobe were very similar in terms of how competitive they both were, and how neither of them was willing to let anybody else outwork them. That's why they both earned their places in history as the 2 of the best to ever do it. Small forward, LeBron James. He may not be your GOAT. Heck, he may not even be in your top 3 ever. But there's no denying that LeBron James has cemented his status as the best small forward in the history of basketball. As polarizing of a figure as he is, he's the most durable, resilient, and consistent superstar in the history of the game. And the crazy part about it is, he's still going strong at nearly 37 years of age. James is a 4-time league MVP, a 4-time champion and finals MVP, and a 16-time All-Star and 16-time All-NBA, earning both honors every season of his career except for his rookie campaign. He's the 3rd highest scorer in NBA history, and by the time he retires, he may already be sitting at number 1. There's also a chance that when he decides to walk away from the game, he's already recognized as the best player in NBA history. The level of greatness that LeBron has sustained for such a lengthy period of time is impressive, as is how much he invests in keeping his body in top-notch shape. And no, we don't only mean the millions of bucks he spends every year in taking care of his body, but also how he never takes a day off from the gym and continues to defy Father Time. At 37 years old, many other all-time greats were already in the latter stages of their career, deferring to other stars on their teams. But in James' case, he's still the best player in the world at age 37, a throne he's been sitting in for at least the past decade. The runner-up at the small forward position is Larry Bird. The OG sharpshooter continued building the legend of the Boston Celtics after the days of Russell, Havlicek, and Jones were gone and won 3 championships of his own. Larry Legend is also a 3-time MVP, a 12-time All-Star, and 10-time All-NBA. And his nickname suggests he is as great because of his on-court play as he is because of his legend. Kevin Durant could have had a chance to become the new runner-up if he manages to win another MVP award and a championship in Brooklyn. Power forward, Tim Duncan. It's a little bit surprising to see how low people often rank Tim Duncan in their all-time great lists. You won't see him higher than 8th in many of the casual NBA fans list, and in some other cases, he's not even put inside the top 10. But it's crazy to think the best power forward ever isn't usually mentioned in the same breath as many of the other top 5 or even top 10 players. There's even a discussion that he's a center more than a power forward, but he found his most success playing as a 4-man. Duncan is a 5-time NBA champion, 3-time Finals MVP, a 2-time League MVP, 15-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, and a 15-time All-Defensive Team member, which is far and away a record as the next 2 players with the second most All-Defensive honors are Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett with 12. Duncan was Mr. Consistency for 19 seasons as a member of the Spurs and was the biggest reason why San Antonio built an outstanding culture of basketball over the past 2.5 decades. There's arguably no other player that has had a big of an impact on the NBA organization as the big fundamental had in San Antonio. And even though power forward may be the thinnest position of all time, Duncan was still a franchise player and somebody to build around. With apologies going out to Kevin Garnett, Karl Malone, and Charles Barkley, the GOAT power forward runner-up goes to Dirk Nowitzki. German Jesus revolutionized the way power forwards are perceived in the game of basketball as the first ever stretch 4, and his biggest advantage over every other power forward in the field relies in Nowitzki's ability to lead a solid, not great, team to the NBA Finals and win a championship against all odds, and becoming the Finals MVP in the process. He's also a former league MVP, 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, and the best international player to ever step foot on an NBA court. Duncan and Nowitzki's primes coincided, and watching those two go at one another was an absolute thing of beauty. Last but not least, the center position. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In what is without a doubt the most stacked position all time, there's a bunch of big men that are contenders for this title. Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Shaquille O'Neal, Hakeem Olajuwon. But one name reigns supreme above them all, and that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. For starters, nobody has ever scored more points in NBA history than Kareem. He has 6 league MVPs that span from 1971 through 1980, with those 6 being the most of all time. He also has 19 All-Star appearances, which, you guessed it, are also the most of all time. He could have made the All-Star team in each of his 20 seasons if he hadn't broken his hand and hurt his reputation after a mid-game fistfight in 1978. Abdul-Jabbar also ranks 3rd in all-time rebounds, as well as 3rd in all-time blocks. Even though blocks weren't recorded as an official stat until his 5th season, his accolades and longevity are unmatched. Choosing runner-up was actually much tougher than selecting the GOAT center. But the second best honors go out to Shaquille O'Neal, one of the most imposing, dominant players in the game of basketball. O'Neal paired up his athleticism and physical dominance with elite skills that made him impossible to defend. And good luck trying to move him in the post, as he was also quite a good defender. Shaq is a 4-time NBA champion, 15-time All-Star, 14-time All-NBA, a former league MVP, and one of the most iconic players in the history of NBA basketball. While Wilt Chamberlain has unmatched stats and Bill Russell is the ultimate winner with 11 total NBA championships, we do have to account for the level of play, lack of balance and competition, and size of the league back in the 50s and 60s. Don't get us wrong, Wilt averaging 50 points in a season and Russell winning 8 straight rings is nothing short of impressive, but it's important to account for the difference in eras. That's why Kareem and Shaq are firmly the 2 best centers in the history of basketball. Do you agree with our GOATs on each position? Can anybody dethrone them in years to come? Make sure to comment below. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on post notifications to watch more amazing NBA content as soon as it drops. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.